If you're an aspiring artist, please don't be like Mad Munchkin. Mad Munchkin is an artist and commentator here on YouTube. She's a bit infamous for getting the attention of the internet's once favorite autist, Chris Chan, when she used to do commentary on My Little Pony garbage. Most importantly, however, she's infamous for being completely unable to take any criticism whatsoever, which is terrible for anyone, let alone an artist who wants to make money off of her art. Oh, and she uses some cheeky clickbait too. For the most part, I've ignored her existence. About 5 years ago, she posted a video which apparently was in response to someone openly criticizing her. I actually thought of making a video about it back then, so I'm extremely late to the party by referring to it now. She likened criticism to bullying and said that constructive criticism can only be given by trusted friends or family members. Basically, if your mommy says your picture is the most beautiful in the world, it must be true. And if she hangs it on the fridge, well, that's bonus points, I guess. It's safe to assume her stance hasn't changed over the years, and seeing the complete trash she uses as her avatars on YouTube, I can tell any and all criticism is swiftly purged.
Constructive criticism must come from a trusted source or a source of competence and relatability.
You'd think that with her making a living off her art, she'd be more competent, especially with the amount of subscribers she has. Making some sweet dosh off of ads, YouTube pretty much becomes a business, and one should really respect their own business. At least. Now, you could say my avatar isn't anything special either, but the difference between us is that I don't make money off of YouTube or my Twitch streaming yet. If that will ever happen, actually, I have a day job as well, and I did this in my spare time, drawing, rigging. This is actually being the third iteration of my avatar, the first two being just moving PNGs and GIFs strung together. See, I've put some effort into the presentation, and given some more time and criticism, I could make it better. I'm an artist myself, as you've probably guessed, and while I can't show you a portfolio aside from what you see here and on my Twitch channel, I sure as hell can tell you what's wrong with Mad Munchkin's disasters on wheels. That being said, it actually shouldn't matter whether I'm an artist or not. I can still give valid criticism. Despite what Mad Munchkin believes, I don't have to be her friend or family member to do so. However, being an artist, I'll actually show you, and her, if she ever watches the video, how to improve her art. So here we go. The first thing that really catches my eye is her lack of attention to basic details. YouTube kills the quality a bit, but I can still see some leftover pixels from the ear shadow. Speaking of shadows, I have no idea what's going on here. It seems the light source is from the top on her hat, from the left on her hair, and from both left and right on her sweater. I mean, that is if she has any shading at all. It seems that she added that very recently. Her line art is just kinda there. It seems more like a sketch in places, and a lot of the lines cut through each other when they probably shouldn't. They're also very plain, ending bluntly, as if the pressure sensitivity on her tablet is non-existent. Again, you'd think she'd work more on her avatar for better presentation. And that was just her elf avatar? Her horse suffers from the same issues, loose pixels, lines cutting through each other, no shading on that one, which is fine, or rather, for the best. Mind you, the lack of shading isn't really an issue, it's just that it shows some inconsistency between the avatars. But the worst yet must be her dog avatar, like holy dooly, what happened here? It seems she only made it to use once in her Bluey video, but still, that's no excuse. Again, with the loose pixels on the eyes, lines are garbage, the hand is just outright lazy, if not completely incompetently made. Color is rounding up the character. It's such a mess, in fact, that I'll take this one, redraw it, and show you how to make it better in the process. The point is to show how she could improve this picture and not how I draw it from scratch. I want to keep the style but fix all the things I've mentioned before. So while tracing it, I'll make sure the lines are nice and clean and have smooth, pointy ends. I'll also make them thinner in some places so that it's not too plain looking. I'll of course fix the hand, and I'll cut one finger to make it more cartoony. as a well-looking 5-finger hand could look uncanny on a cartoon canine. When coloring, I'm making sure there's no rogue pixels, especially on the eyes, which is very, very noticeable on her picture. And there we go, much better. That was the art part. I've mentioned her using some cheeky clickbait, so let's talk about that. See, in many of her titles, she writes certain words in all capital letters. In order to understand how this works as clickbait, one needs to understand how we actually perceive letters and words. You see, our brains are wonderful, and when we read, we only really need the first and last letter of the word to be correct, while the letters in between can be moved around. This is why it's hard to find dumb typos. Our brain fills in the words, not putting much attention to each letter separately. Basically, if you can read this, congrats, you don't have dyslexia. However, this magic goes out the window when you write words in all capital letters. It's still possible to read, however, now our brain will require more energy, time, and effort to read the words. We now pay attention, that being the key word here, to all letters separately. With clickbait titles, if they're written in all caps or have specific words capitalized, they subconsciously make us pay more attention to them for the aforementioned reason. And since we've already spent time and energy on reading it, we might as well click it, right? Again, it all happens subconsciously. It's a cheap tactic, but it works. Mad Munchkin uses this fact against her viewers, whether she knows how it works or not. And while clickbait on YouTube is unfortunately the norm, it doesn't mean it's not a shitty thing to do. What's funny is if you try writing comments with certain words being in all caps, or better yet, the whole thing being all caps, you'll most likely get blocked by the very YouTubers who use this crap to their advantage. It's a terrible double standard. But there you go, dear viewer. Mad Munchkin, an artist who half-asses her presentation in videos she makes money on, unable to take an ounce of criticism, and she uses clickbait. So, whoever you are, whatever you do, please don't be like Mad Munchkin. Thanks for listening.